Hello, everybody. Welcome into Tiger Talks Wrestling. Been a couple weeks, but we are back here today. I am your host, Tony, and joined, of course, by my co-host, Mr. Eddie from the Bronx.
Hey, Merry Christmas, a late Christmas, but a Happy New Year to everybody. And yes, I am dressing like either the Johnny Depp Willy Wonka or I'm trying to look like Jesse the Body Ventura. I'm still trying to figure it out.
You need the boas to be Jesse.
You know what? I got it. Hey, Party City's going out of business, so maybe I could get some cheap boas.
There you go.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And plus, I can't say McMahon because
Merry...
of legal troubles.
Yeah, that's true. But yes, Merry belated Christmas, if you will, to everybody. And we hope everybody had a good Christmas. Hope you New Year's and have a great New Year's. We are here to do a little retrospective as we decided to go back in time. December's always been for WCW back in the day, the month that they had their version of WrestleMania Starrcade. Which Starrcade did we decide upon talking about here today, Eddie?
Well, Tony, because you're the host and I'm the co-host, me and you decided we are going to go back to the greatest Starrcade of them all, the 1994 greatest Starrcade between Hogan and Brutus the Barber Beefcake. Because, damn it, that was the best one that it ever was in professional wrestling. Hell no, that one sucked.
Yes, it did.
That one sucked. We are going back in time to 1996 when Roddy Piper jumped from the World Wrestling Federation to WCW to have a match from the decade. Hollywood Hulk Hogan versus Roddy Piper.
Yeah, there'll be a lot to talk about when we get to that match too, but we're going to chit-chat a bit about some of the other matches that took place on that card as well. That actually took place 28 years ago tomorrow. So, hey, that would be 28 years since that show took place. I do want to say that I know it's brand new, but I am streaming this on just YouTube today. Nobody, I'm sure, has followed me. Can't even think of the name of it, but we'll get to it later. But we're going to try and incorporate a little bit more than just YouTube into this show, just an FYI. We're getting people in to watch on there and other places, so we'll see how things go. Starrcade 96, of course, happened in Nashville, Tennessee, Municipal Auditorium, where they still do some of their shows in wrestling-wise. But it kicked off with quite the interesting match as the Ultimo Dragon, who was an 8-time champion at that point in time, would kick off the show with Sonny Ono in his corner, defending his 8 titles in this unique match against the WCW Cruiserweight Champion of the World, Nico, the man of 1,000 holds.
Oh man, yeah, because I think the Ultimate Dragon was the J Crown
Yes.
champion. All the titles of Japan he won, and then you have the man with the 1,000 holds, Dean Malenko. But ladies and gentlemen, you still have to give it up for Chris Jericho, naming all of them. Armbar, suplex, armbar. You know, I mean, but that's another latest Starrcade. But Dean Malenko, a great cruiserweight. You know, there's a lot of great cruiserweights in that division back then. I mean, you still have
Yes.
a young Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, Chavo. I mean, the Juice, Juventud Guerrera. I mean, the X Pac. The New World Order was a champion
6.
too. So you had some great cruiserweights, but I found something interesting. The cruiserweight title was originally supposed to be the new World Television Championship. Because somebody posted on something around Christmas that when the Renegade won the the television championship from Arn Anderson, Jimmy Hart accidentally put it next to the camera. Instead of it saying the World Television title, it said the WCW Cruiserweight title before it debuted.
Interesting.
If you
Did not know
look
that.
when the Renegade, when the fake ass Ultimate Warrior
Yeah.
in there, you remember Jimmy Hart posted that belt. I think it was at Bash at the Beach. If you look at it, it says the Cruiserweight title on the belt.
Yeah, I'd have to go back and watch that again. That is interesting.
Yeah. I didn't post it. Somebody else posted. And I was like, oh, I never knew that because I really never cared about some of the WCW titles because
Right.
they were ugly as fuck. But
It's
that
true.
one's an interesting one that it said the Cruiserweight title. I think the only nice one that WCW ever had was the Hardcore title when they made their own version of the Hardcore title. That was the only nicest title that they
That was
had. The big gold belt was fine, but it was
between that
getting
and Big Gold.
old. And yeah, I mean the other one, the other WCW World title that they had when Flair took it was that one that looked like a version of the World Tag Team Championships. So that one was a really
Yeah.
sucky one. But yeah, who can say more about this match with Malenko and the Ultimate Dragon? Two well-oiled technicians. I mean, these guys were it back
Yes,
then.
they were. And this opening match was, I'll even say it, it was the match of the night. These two guys went at it tooth and nail for upwards of, I do believe. And the moves you've seen those two do, it really makes you appreciate the talent that both guys had. How good Dean Malenko could actually be in the ring. It's been so long since we've seen a Dean Malenko match, really. Watching these matches just brings back those memories of how great of a wrestler and a technician.
Almost definitely. And you compare Dean Malenko and the Ultimo Dragon in their WCW run and their WWF run, or WWE. I know WWF for sure from Malenko, and Ultimate Dragon was WWE. Complete opposite.
Yeah,
Complete opposite.
that's true. Very true. Because when Dean went to WWF, he was part of the Radicals and a lot, and you didn't really see a whole lot from him. Dragon, he had one run as Cruiserweight Champion in WWE, but really there was nothing that happened for him in WWE.
One thing I can say about Eric Bischoff, and there was a lot of stuff that I didn't like about Bischoff. First of all, he is a creative genius, yes. But that man knew how to feature the cruiserweight division. That was the opening match of every pay-per-view. Except one when it was Chavo and Diamond Dallas. That's the only one that was not a cruiserweight then, but
Right.
he knew how to feature them, but he never let them accelerate to the main event.
Right.
Because of one little problem that he felt like he needed to be on top. The immortal scumbag, needs
Right.
to be on top every time. So we never got. If you take a list of every, and this is what we should talk about because it is a cruiserweight division. Who do you think from that division, if Bischoff would have been made promises and he didn't, and he should have? Who do you think from that division should have went after the world heavyweight title?
Well, I mean, there's one who's obvious because he did become a future world heavyweight champion in WWE, Rey Mysterio. But he as well, a future WWE champion. You could have, even Dean, I could have seen rewatching this match. Even you could see he could have went with the champions. They mentioned how he went to the limit with it. Whoever the TV champion was, Lord Steven Regal, like a week before this pay-per-view, went to a time limit draw with him. Dean had proven he could have hung with the top dogs.
Do you feel like the Ultimate Dragon could have been world heavyweight champion?
Maybe. I mean, yes. I guess I would say definitely not.
Yeah.
But they would have had to have been during that run with Sonny Ono as his manager, I feel like, because I just felt like he kind of, once him and Ono kind of broke off as a pairing together, and kind of fell off, so as to speak, off the cruiserweight division or WCW in general.
You're absolutely right. I feel like he did go off, and hell, I still don't even know what the hell he's doing now.
Yeah, I'm not sure either if he's still wrestling or not.
Yeah.
But no, I always thought even Billy Kidman could have been a world champion.
Billy Kidman. Yeah. Shit. But what version of Billy Kidman? The one that had fleas, or the one that actually cleaned up really good?
It cleans up really good. I mean, he did have a good run towards the end of WCW days when they did the New Blood versus the old guys, when he had matches with Hollywood, with Hulk Hogan. So I just felt like Billy really showed then that he could have been champion material.
Oh, most definitely. I felt like Billy Kidman when he wrestled Terry Bollea. He showed that he could hang with Hogan, and that's not really that's accomplishment for him. Hogan always thought that he wasn't ready. Hell, Hogan thought Bret Hart wasn't ready, and it's like, it's not all about you. But yeah. But yeah, like you said, this match was really good, and I felt like Dean. It showed that these guys could go, and I felt like it was the right move to put the title on the Ultimate Dragon because Dean was moving up to the United States Championship. Was he going after the United States Championship after this?
Yeah, I don't remember for sure if it was the TV or the US.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, it was a great match. Kick off the show, though, into the finals of the tournament from the first ever WCW Women's World Champion. You have Akira Hokuto. I might have mispronounced that. Had Sonny Ono and Kensuke Sasaki in her corner. I was looking at that tournament, and had 8 women in this tournament. All 7 of the Medusa were all Japanese wrestlers. Whole tournament. was the only well-known name really in the tournament. And then this match, I felt like was, I hate to say it, but trash. It was terrible to watch this match. Medusa, I always enjoyed watching her under Blaze in WWE before she had jumped back over to WCW around this time, or just before this time, I mean. But her run as Medusa in WCW the second time, honestly, and this match was too.
Her first run in WCW was better because she was with the Dangerous Alliance. She was a force back in the early 90s and 80s when she was called Medusa. God, what was her last name? Because they used it a lot. Medusa Michelli or some shit like that.
Something like that.
This match was garbage. I mean, this match should have been on WCW Monday Nitro. That's how shit this was.
Or even Saturday night, for that matter.
Don't mess with Saturday nights. Don't mess with that one. I mean, hell, they could have put on WCW Power Hour.
Because all you end up with at the end of it was Sonny Ono coming in with the American flag and cracking over Medusa's back, and then Medusa getting dropped on her head for Akira.
Is it Akawa?
Akira.
I thought it was Akawa. Akira.
Whatever. About the same way as Akira Tozawa, so.
Yeah. I would have just called her Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yeah, really. Well, at least we went from that garbage match to a little bit better. If I'm we had the first time ever single match follow it up between and Rey Mysterio Jr. This was a pretty good match, but I still felt you could tell this was the first time that these two guys had been in the ring together one-on-one. And some things didn't quite gel the way you would have thought for a match between these two guys.
Oh, God, yes. I mean, but you got to give it up to, Rey Mysterio, a young Rey Mysterio, and a legend. I think this was, I don't know if I heard Tony Schiavone right, this was Jushin Thunder Liger's last match.
A lot of matches since then.
At that point in time. Oh, yeah. I mean, is Jushin Thunder Liger a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, he went in the Hall of Fame a couple of years ago, I think, in WWE.
Okay, I know Muta won in, but yeah. You're right.
At that time, I think this was his first match at that point.
Yeah. I know Liger had a match with Brian Pillman and, God, I'm going to say this, Johnny Flamingo back in the early days of like 3 years prior for the WCW Light, for the WCW NWO Light Heavyweight Championship. And yes, if people who do not know who Johnny Flamingo is, it's Raven or Johnny Polo or whatever the fuck he calls himself now.
Quote the Raven, nevermore.
Yeah. But yeah, it didn't seem like, and it's not their fault. They didn't work with each other. It was a lot of spots that were really sloppy, but that's what you get when you don't work with a person that much. It's called chemistry, ladies and gentlemen, and it wasn't there.
Wasn't in this match. I mean, the end, Liger hits his patented Liger bomb, and you could tell it was botched the way he landed it. So, but he still got the 1, 2, 3 out of it. we go from there. You get the Wolverine versus Jeff Jarrett in a no disqualification match. The main story going into this was that these guys both technically were part of the Horsemen at that. But there was strife within the Horsemen, and these two get along well. This is kind of where this pay-per-view really goes downhill. Starts with this match more so, I would say, pay-per-view all in all, honestly. But these two had a decent no DQ match up until you get towards the end, because then it gets convoluted because out comes Hugh Morris and Conan to go after Woman. Quite the low blow that Hugh Morris took on Woman. I'll mention Arn Anderson's out there at ringside and ends up giving a DDT to Jeff Jarrett, but at the ring, the Wolverine gets nailed from behind with a chair, a wooden chair, by Kevin Sullivan, which knocks him out. Jarrett gets rolled in on top of Benoit for the 1-2-3, even though Arn Anderson wasn't expecting that to happen, as Jarrett gets the victory. Just way too much outside interference for this match. And you're going to hear that for most of the rest of the show, really. But it just seemed like a hot mess. Let's put it that way.
Well, to quote the late great Brian Pillman, it was the Booker Man, and when I talk about Booker T, it was the Booker Man, Kevin Sullivan's brainchild. So that's why that shit was a hot mess.
That explains things, I suppose. Good enough for that one. Then next we go in, you got the... I honestly fast forwarded through other than the end of it for the most part, because of how slow it started and everything. Next match, you got the Powers of Pain, Meng and the Barbarian, tag team titles. This was, I would say, actually a really good tag team match, though, that we'd have for the WCW.
You know what? Meng and the Barbarian, or Haku, or Sione, whatever the hell they were called, in WWF. It was good, and it was a good match between four guys that really never worked against each other, in WWF, and it was really good because Scott and Kevin just came over from WWF after losing both of their titles. Scott lost his title to Goldust. Kevin lost his belt to Brett at Survivor Series the year before, and just finished up a program with The Undertaker at WrestleMania. Scott wasn't on WrestleMania because of his drug issue, and really good match. And wow, the Powers of Pain. I bet the Warlord was really pissed that they took that name.
Still, it was interesting seeing Jimmy Hart in their corner. Of course, Six was in Holland. One funny spot, of course, towards the end, Six ended up in a megaphone from Jimmy Hart and chased him out of the arena. I liked how Meng and Barbarian kind of took things under their own control. I mean, Nick, of course, he was in the NWO pocketbook, but Meng and Barbarian still took their chances and double team all at multiple different points during that match.
I mean, yeah. Oh no, I mean, especially Meng. He really never gave a shit about anybody. I mean, it's plain and simple. I mean, Meng was a OG. He don't give a shit about what anybody else thinks.
Yeah. Of course, in the end, Nash hits Barbarian with it, the 1, 2, 3. But again, like I said, it was a really good tag team title match. Anyway.
Yeah.
After that, we'd have another tournament finals as we would crown the new United States champion. So apparently, before this tournament began, the Giant was the WCW United States champion. For some reason, he was, I guess, stripped of the title, but wouldn't give it back. Champion. That's pretty much how it sounded like on the telecast, on the pay-per-view. Why exactly Giant was stripped, I don't know. They didn't really explain it that great, I felt like.
No, the reason why the Giant had the title because when they beat the living crap out of Ric Flair and he had to go for surgery, they just stole the United States Championship. And Giant basically just took it and was defending a title that he never defeated Ric Flair for the WCW United States title. So that's why he had the title, and I don't know why they say strip when he never won the actual thing. It's like, wow, your storyline sucks on this one when the guy never won the damn title.
Right? Anyway, we get the finals of the tournament between DDP and Eddie Guerrero, who we did a show recently of another pay-per-view from '96 that these two guys were on against each other. That match was really good. However, you fast forward to this match, it started slow. I did fast forward through quite a bit of this one, honestly, because this was not one of their two guys, and that's hard to say when you got DDP and Eddie Guerrero in there, who are two really good wrestlers, really great wrestlers. Really. Of course, when you get to the end, which we'll get to in a minute, that explains things too.
Yeah, you're right. It started off really slow, and like you said, this pay per view was really a slow. Like they were slowing it down. I don't know if Hulk Hogan had to take some energy drink or had to take some medication. Piper had to warm up 6 hours before because this shit was slow into the main event.
Yeah, well, we'll get there. Eddie and DDP kind of just seem like they're starting to get a little bit of a rhythm, and then comes the end of the match, and you get Hall and Nash. They attack DDP from behind. He gets a Hall because DDP apparently turned down the NWO when the NWO wanted him to join the week Monday before or something like that. Interesting that the Diamond Stud gave the Diamond the outsider's edge there, but little tidbit to throw out there. Two former guys who were aligned together at one point in time. That leading Eddie didn't see any of it happen, hits the frog splash 1, 2, 3. The NWO then comes back, outsiders in 6. Eddie actually had the better of them for a little while, even 3-on-1. But the numbers would eventually catch up to him, and they would take out Eddie Guerrero as well and leave him laying. I was surprised to see Eddie get the minute or two, though.
Yeah, the interference, I feel like if this wasn't like this was a special announcement from the New World Order, it could have went either way. I felt like it could have been Eddie or DDP winning the United States Championship. But I felt like, from that point on, I felt like it was right for Eddie to be champion because we already know that 97 was a better year for DDP because he did went on to win the WCW United States Championship from Raven, which is fucking mind-boggling that Raven was the United States champion in WCW.
Right? It is, but it did happen. happen. Of course, we know the lineage of the U.S. title and people that would eventually carry it too in '97. But anyway, so we go on from that. You go into the semi-main. You got the Giant coming out to the ring as he goes one-on-one with the Total Package Lex Luger. And I mean, I seen on Wikipedia page, they said this match was really terrible, but I thought this was a pretty decent match, to be honest. I thought Giant and Luger had a good match with each other. Yes, the end again gets a little convoluted, but I thought Luger sold pretty well points in this match.
Oh, so you're talking about the Lex Luger moan.
Perhaps.
Oh, 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 oh. every fucking time he gets hit, he does that weird ass shit. Like, Lex, what the fuck are you doing?
That's still, like I said, I thought it was a good match. I don't know about you, but
okay, so you want my opinion on?
But it still was good.
I'm gonna give my opinion on this match. The only fucked up part was when, towards the end of it. The end of it should have never happened. It should have just been a clean win for Luger and stuff. It didn't need to have all that drama at the end. But yes, the Giant and Luger did an excellent job of making this match of what it is. Luger back then, and this is a year removed, when he re-debuted in WCW. It showed that Luger could work. I mean, a year prior, Luger and Paul White were part of one of the sexualist encounters in WCW history.
That's true.
I mean, Lex Luger, still to this day, I bet he must be at home having nightmares of seeing Paul White and the Yeti molesting Hulk Hogan.
Right.
I mean, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a good match until the end. Like you said, it that ending should have never happened, and you get what you got. You know, and that's what I got to say about that part. That part, I felt like it was unnecessary to ruin a match that was pretty decent.
Right. You get Six out there, then you get Sting out there, and Sting get to it and whisper both Luger and Giant's ears. What he said, who knows? But that Sting didn't get physical. Really, I mean, nobody knew where Sting aligned, so as to speak, at that point in time. So, because he wasn't part of the point in time, he was the owner Sting. So, just did what he wanted when he wanted, and that was it. Luger then using the bat to get a low blow, and then times before picking up the pinfall victory after a shot to the head with the bat. Again, yeah, good match, terrible ending, but that was to be expected. I feel like it was big thing was ruining matches for the most part at that point. So that year. It's the main event. You got How High, the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, Vincent, all three of those guys coming out. And I think Bischoff might have came out with them originally too, but and DiBiase to stay out at ringside for the main event as Hogan faces Roddy Piper. You get Michael Buffer on commentary, doing announcing for the match as usual for main event. Again, this was an open between Piper and Hogan. They built up the fact that Hogan had never beaten Roddy Piper in a singles match, anyways. They beat that to death throughout this match. Decent match up until you get to the ending again. As like I said, you're going to hear quite a bit. Then it gets a bit convoluted because the Giant comes out and gets involved, and craziness happens with the NWO getting involved in the match. Pipe end up getting Hogan in the sleeper hold. Referee brings up the arm for the 3, and Piper wins the match. What do you got to say about this main event match, Eddie?
I don't want to say this, but
the match of the century as it was billed.
Yeah, it was the match of old timers. Hogan in this match looked run down, looked like he didn't know what to do. He walked around the ring half of the match in this contest. It really wasn't a match that you got two of the greatest of all time. It shows the lack of creativity. If this was in WWF and they ran this back in '96, this match would have been better. Bischoff didn't know how to put pen to paper, how to properly book Hogan and Piper.
Right.
Look at Hogan's last match in WCW this year was against Randy Savage, and that was even shit.
Right.
And that was even shit. And you go after, you basically are facing one of the greatest technical wrestlers of that generation, and the Macho Man Randy Savage. And that match was even slow because Hogan didn't care. Hogan didn't care. He was the world champion. He was getting his money. He didn't have to wrestle at every pay-per-view. It was really a shit match. And Piper's last match, if I'm correct, was against Jerry the King Lawler at the King of the Ring.
I think so.
I'm sorry, no. It was against Goldust at WrestleMania 12. In the Hollywood backlot, yeah.
Yeah.
Piper was more featured. Yeah. Piper was more featured in that match. And he had a broken hand.
Right.
Of
course, they recorded parts of it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know. But still, nobody knew that. But Piper and Hogan, this was the slowest match. But, people bought it. People bought the match. People wanted to see Hogan go down to Roddy Piper for the first time.
Right.
As a fan of the New World Order, and at the time a fan of Hollywood Hogan, it was like, wow, Piper beat him. But going back 28 years later and watching this crap,
right,
man, thank God I was not the one that buy it. So rest in peace, Grandpa. I love you, but you wasted your money on crap.
Right? I mean, they would, a couple months later, I said on Wikipedia as well, Hogan would get his win. it's to me, I felt like, and I know Hogan's reign lasted quite a while past this as well. They just kind of were stagnating or just kind of running through the motions, if you will, to lead to the next year's start. Of course, was when Sting finally wins the W.
Oh, that's another story. I mean, that's another story. I feel like Hogan's run from 94, when he came in, Hogan handpicked his opponents.
Right.
If you look at Hogan's run as the WCW champion, it was against guys that he faced in WWE.
Right.
Except Brutus. That was a shit show. It was like Hulk Hogan did his laundry and just put it into a washer and just kept rinsing the same bullshit for the past year.
Pretty much, yeah. Right.
Because Hogan knew when he went to WCW, he would have to face guys that he never faced. I still think that, and I want your opinion on this, and you can tell me if I'm wrong. I wish they didn't wait a year for Sting versus Hogan because the iron was hot. Sting was on an island by himself, and
Right.
they waited a year. And then look at the year Hogan had. Hogan turned on WCW. He beat the Giant at
Right.
Hog Wild.
Yep.
He faced Piper. He lost the belt to Luger on Nitro. He wins it back the following year. I mean, and then he keeps it to Starrcade. Hogan wins the match, which was a disaster because he pulled his creative card. I feel like WCW went downhill after it started going downhill in 96. And it continued in 97 when you had the biggest match that people wanted to see. Hogan Sting. And you pissed it away. Because Hogan didn't want to lose a belt. Hogan didn't want to lose a belt because he felt like if he wasn't champion, the company would have been shit. I mean, you even fucked up. And this even goes down the line. You even fucked up Bret the Hitman Hart debut in WCW by making him a fucking referee. Like you had Bret, a pissed off Bret Hart, coming into the company, and you're saying your first duty as a competitor of WCW is to be a referee for 2 announcers.
Yeah.
Really?
Right. Crazy.
I mean,
so,
look at the next.
Hear me out on this.
Look at the next pay-per-view at the Starrcade. Was the first ever NWO sold out. How did that work out?
Not very well.
No.
But here's my thinking. Turns heel, becomes Hollywood Hogan at Bash at the Beach. Sting officially turns his back, I guess you could say, or sorry, not at Halloween Havoc. I fought Brawl War Games. If they wanted to play it off and wait before they did the world title match between Sting and Hogan, they should go back to Bash at the Beach and had the title match there. That was a full year character, or even go to Hog Wild. Have the championship 7. Have the title change hands, have Sting win it at that show, instead of waiting until Starrcade to do it. A year plus later.
I totally agree with you. Hogan should have lost lost the title in Sturgis. But no, they gave it to Lex Luger. Lex Luger wasn't even at the was he a main event competitor? Yes, but he wasn't even at that level that Sting was. Sting is the one that
Right.
turned on WCW because they turned on him.
Right.
You don't make
Right.
Luger the champion on Nitro and then you make him lose because of the help of Dennis Rodman.
Yep. Got to make Godzilla look good.
I mean, I understand that he was ready. I mean, I know he was a member of the Chicago Bulls and they were on that run with the NBA title, but
Right.
yeah, I mean, and the match with Piper and Hogan too from San Francisco, you turn the Macho Man Randy Savage, which I thought was a good choice to turn Randy, but a couple of months before he was wrestling Hogan at Halloween Havoc, and then you turn him and have him join Hogan. It made no sense. You could have made
Yeah.
Randy Savage a heel, but no. You had to make him a member of the NWO, which was good, but you had to help. He could have helped Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, but no. You had to reunite the Mega Powers as members of the New World Order. And then it went downhill from there.
Right. It was crazy. That's for sure. But that was Starrcade for you. WCW at that time for you. So definitely wasn't the greatest Starrcade in my opinion, but it was better than some of the others. As you mentioned, 90 Hogan, terrible. But better, but yet get worse. And again, like I said, the Malenko and Guerrero and Dragon match pretty much would be the one match I would say your way and watch from this Starrcade.
Oh yeah.
Bless you.
And speaking of Starrcade, I thought 95 was one. I thought 95 Starrcade was good. Yes, they had Japan versus the UF for the World Cup of Wrestling, whatever the fuck that is. But the semi-main event with the triangle match between Sting, Luger, and Flair, and the winner faces Randy Savage for the world title. I feel like that was a good match. Flair and Savage worked really good together. I mean, I think a pay-per-view without Hulk Hogan was the best thing that they ever did on that night. Hogan and pay-per-views back then sucked.
Right. That's true. For the most part, it's very true.
And we're not trying to say in 1995 that WWF was the greatest show on earth. People look back at 1995 in WWF. It sucked. You had a guy called Dukes the Dumpster Drosy. The only thing that was going really good for WWE was Scott Hall and Shawn Michaels winning the Royal Rumble. Winning the Royal Rumble in 95 when he beat the Bulldog, which I just watched, by the way. Really good really good testimony. But, I mean, I haven't watched Brett versus Diesel, and that match was good, man. They beat the living shit out of each other. And it was good.
Right.
Was 95 in WWF really good? No, it sucked. 96 was a little better because Shawn was becoming that boyhood dream. I mean, but pay-per-views, and I'm not going to say this about WCW. WWF, even with the talent WWE had back in 96, their pay-per-views were better. And they had a shitty roster.
They did. It just showed you the difference of who was on top in their main events, in my opinion, at that point in time, compared to WCW's.
I mean, 95, if you look at 96, 95, 96, Kevin Nash's run as the World Wrestling Federation champion, he only had one good match, and that was against Brett and the Bulldog. Other
Right.
than that, the match he had with Sid, it was okay. It wasn't, and the worst match that he had was at SummerSlam when him and Mabel won on one-on-one for the title. That was a shit. I mean, that rakes up with Hogan and Piper. I mean, that was a shit show.
Exactly.
Let's say wrestling pay-per-views in the 96 sucked. I mean, even Shawn Michaels.
For the most part, yeah.
I mean, look, at the time of this pay-per-view, Shawn Michaels was the World Wrestling Federation champion. He couldn't even hold. At this time, I think he was wrestling the Bulldog for the World Wrestling Federation championship.
Sounds about right.
Okay. Bulldog had more better matches than Hogan did in 1996.
It's true. You look at it, Sid was the WWF champion at this point in time.
Oh, that's right.
He had beaten Shawn at Survivor Series in November.
That's right. Was it Brett and Shawn? I mean, Sid and Brett at In Your House, It's Time?
Yes.
I mean, look at Sid.
Yep. And December.
I mean, look at Sid. He actually made wrestling look good the same time that Hogan and Piper were trying to figure out if they could still wrestle.
Right. Because, yeah, if you look at the 15th card for In Your House, they had Flash Funk beating Leaf Cassidy in their opening contest.
Oh, my God. Okay.
Yeah.
We got to – hold on. Let's do this. We got to compare the opening matches from STARRCADE to this. Okay, WCW wins this one. Al Snow versus Two Cold Scorpio.
Yep. In a 10-minute.
Wow.
Right?
Wait, that match went 10 minutes?
And for their 10.5.
Holy fuck.
So, STARRCADE had 8 matches, whereas In Your House only had 5. But they'd go on. The next match would be Moan and Fake Diesel getting a tag team title match against Owen Hart and the British Bulldog.
Okay, WCW wins this one.
Oh, Nash over there. Yeah. Hunter Hearst Helmsley against Mark Merrow with Sable for the Intercontinental Championship.
Okay, so that beats out the Diamond Dallas Eddie Guerrero match.
Yep, I'd agree with that.
Or Benoit versus Jarrett.
Both.
No, both, yeah.
And he Armageddon Rules match as the Executioner with Paul Bearer.
I actually like that match.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's pretty decent.
I mean, that was Terry Bam Bam Gordy under the mask, so he wasn't the same person at the time because he had some medical issues that he passed out and lost oxygen to his brain. But man, Terry Bam Bam Gordy could wrestle anybody, and Undertaker really helped him out in that match. But that was better than the WCW match.
And then again, like I said, Psycho Sid and Bret Hart in the main event for the WWF Championship.
That was better than Piper and Hogan.
Yeah, a non-title match.
Yeah.
Gotta mention that Piper didn't get a title match there.
I know. But,
rematch was the title, but
oof. But you know what? I gotta say, if we compare pay-per-views, like I always wanted to do that, like a simul pay-per-view, a WWE pay-per-view. We look at both pay-per-views for that month, and we pick which one we like better.
Mm-hmm.
And then we let the viewers comment.
Yeah.
Comment and describe. Come on, people. Like and describe or give us an answer. We'll see
So
which one they like on the card.
Something we can do.
I think it'd be nice. I think it'd be nice that we pick a pay-per-view from 1 month, pick that WWE pay-per-view, and pick the WCW pay-per-view, and we talk about it. We go through the card, we talk about it, and then we decide on our own, and then we let our viewers decide, okay, which one was better in that month? I think it'd be something really, really different.
Maybe something we can do in February. Maybe.
Oh, wait, but we got to talk about the Royal Rumble in February.
Right.
Yeah.
However, yes. However, we will be Royal Rumble all month of January.
Yes.
As you guys have seen, we did. The budget's been canceled for today. It's too much for Christmas.
Damn it! I used it. I used it on the whole month of November.
Yeah, that too. Anyways, you've seen we did our WrestleMania retrospectives. We did our SummerSlam and Survivor Series retrospectives. We have to do the Royal. So we will do that in January. You'll see one show a week. We'll talk about the Royal Rumbles, and we'll get through that week. You'll see a show, like I said. So, February 1st is Royal Rumble event. Quite the interesting Royal Rumble. I have a feeling it's going to be. Of course, we've got the date for Monday Night Raw coming up January 6th. I think that's going to really open up what we will have in store for the Royal Rumble.
Most definitely. And let's say this on air. I was thinking, and I want to agree with the host as well, I think we should do a after Monday Night Raw show on Netflix to see what we thought about the debut on Netflix. I think that'd be a great thing to do, because I think that'd be great to do something like that. I mean, this is the debut. We gotta do something.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, we can do a review show here on Netflix.
Oh my
Maybe
God.
a couple minutes after or something like that.
I think that would be great, and I will be off that day. So that will be really good. We should do something and talk about it. And now, and I was thinking, oh God, you're gonna really hate me.
Uh-oh.
We should do, just for this week, maybe next Saturday, we should talk about the first ever 3-hour SmackDown.
Yeah, we could. Or we could do our review show that we had talked about doing too.
Yeah, we should do that. Review it. You know, I mean, look at this. SmackDown's going for 3 hours, and we already got a match for the Royal Rumble. Cody versus Kevin Owens in a ladder match for the WWE Championship.
Yes, we do.
I mean, that's
Undisputed championship. Both.
that is going to be a good match with. Wait a minute. I know Kevin Owens been in a ladder match, but has Cody been in a ladder? Oh yeah, he was. He was in a ladder match. Okay.
Cody and Sam, many other ladder matches too.
But man, well, I know the ones with Sammy Guevara. That was, woo. Mm-hmm. He took a bump in that shit. But
yes, he did.
But I gotta say, that's going to be a good match at the Royal Rumble.
Yes, it should be. All right. So, anyways, be on the lookout for those shows. We will be back on the air for those. And I think that's pretty much everything I got for this show then today. Thanks to everybody who's. Nobody left any comments, but that's okay. Had a couple people in. Interesting shows, I'll mention that. I always enjoy them, and it's fun to talk about them with Yeti.
No, thanks, man.
Look forward to seeing what we can come up with.
It's been a great. First of all, and I know I'm not trying to talk over Tony, and I know Tony will agree with me. We want to say thank you to all our viewers and everybody that watched us for the year 2024. We appreciate everything. We appreciate everything that you have done for us this year, starting with the Royal Rumble to now. I mean, 2024 was a great year for us as host and co-host. I mean, we did some great ones. We did watch-alongs. I mean, we had fun doing what we did from my apartment, and I want to say thank you to you, Tony, because this year was fun. We had fun together. We had our Christmas party here on the 17th, and we had fun talking to one another. You know, it's been a great year, and I want to say thank you to you
for having us.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you right now, I have a lot of shit going up in my brain right now, what I think what we can do, and it's really scary.
I believe it.
You know, but I'll tell you offline. I think that we can do, because this one might help us out a little bit with stuff. So again, hope you guys had a great Christmas, and I hope 2025 brings you good luck and happiness. So happy New Year to everybody.
Couldn't agree more. And Merry Christmas to everybody, and Happy New Year. Hope y'all enjoy your New Year festivities. Just don't go drinking and driving. Put that PSA out.
No. Most definitely. And
be responsible.
And yes, and we forgot our little buddy. We forgot our little buddy John. John, we love you. Happy New Year, bro. And to our loose cannon, and you know who you are. We love you too, bro.
Kev, we hope you come back soon at some point if you want to, at different points. So, hope you see it. With that, we people that watch and subscribe, so we appreciate all of you. Again, like Eddie said, thank you for an incredible 2024. We look forward to seeing what 2025 brings, as we plan on bringing in a lot of content for you still in the year 2025. So it should be another.
And yes, I am Grimel the Monsoon, and I'm here with with the host of the show, Bobby the Brain Heenan.
Wow, thank you. Thank you very much.
I know. Okay, you just want Elvis? I have no idea why. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honky Tonk Man is back in the den. Well, too bad I don't have a microphone.
Yes.
Like, the Colonel's here, baby. I'm here, baby.
Ain't that great? Oh.
Oh, and by the way, I just want to let you know that me and Tony has decided that we're moving to Memphis, Tennessee, and we're going to call ourselves the Fabulous Russo Brothers.
Maybe. Oh.
And our theme song's going to be All American Boys. All American Boys. All American Boys.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
With that. Fun. Yes, we have it. With that, though, yes, thank you, everybody. We will catch you guys in the next one. Yes, it will be